Yeah, hi all. In this class, we are going to be learn something related to the views. We already learned the views, and we can also learn maybe the triggers and subqueries, so that you will get some idea how does that going to be helpful in the SQL. So let's jump on to the triggers, whatever the SQL tutorial we are going to be provided with some of the examples. So triggers is basically tells about whenever you require to trigger that query, okay, the event or specific event is going to be occurred in the table in the database. Suppose I have a trigger, like suppose I have a trigger. I need to run a query. Okay, I need to run a query. I need to run a query. At the time, I realized it will be happen only for month or monthly frequency. You can say in the time it will be open happen for the monthly frequency. Monthly only is the query going to be run. So what I need to do, I will trigger at the month end date. At the month end date. So this basically tells about once you end up with your month, once you end up with your month, end of the month, you can say last date of the month, you have to be triggered that query. You have to be triggered that query automatically. So without any manual interpretation with corresponding to the human beings, it will trigger automatically. Further, we use the triggers. Further, we use the triggers. So this is very simple to understand if you are aware about how does the triggers or how does the monthly kind of the sequence or daily kind of the sequence, the piece of the code you want to be run automatically to get some response. So trigger is always is going to be associated with a particular table. Okay, the table, if suppose the table is deleted, what will happen if associated with the triggers, the automatically going to be deleted, right? Automatically going to be deleted. Suppose I don't require to use this kind of the trigger, at that time the tables will also going to be deleted, the trigger is going to be deleted at the time, vice versa. And you can see the whenever you use some of the issue in some sort of the issue, you will also encounter to invoke either before or after some of the following events. Let's take this example called insert. When a new join is insert, or when a new row is insert at the time in your table, what will happen? The trigger may be revoke or invoke some of the cases. And update is also when an existing row is going to be updated the some of the cases, and delete also when a row is going to be deleted some of the cases. The RDMS is going to be invoke some of the cases are in encapsulated with corresponding to the data what we are going to show. So at the time of situation, you have to hand it over to get rid from the another trigger. So we can back up some of the triggers. That is also very helpful. You can say, on the other hand, we can also maybe possible to delete some of the rows don't involve in the associate triggers. The trigger table are truncating some of the tables information without any concatenated with respect to the existing table we are going to get. Yeah, this is a very basic syntax for the trigger creation in the statement or the syntax. So creating the trigger is very straightforward. Create trigger name before or after an event. Event is nothing but whatever the event you want to be specified. Just now we discussed some monthly frequency, right? So you can specify with respect to that. That is very basic of idea. Table name with corresponding to the trigger type, beginning and end. You can write the logic with corresponding to the trigger logic you want to specify. Yeah, let's suppose you are to be working with some trigger. Okay, so you want to be use that either before or you can say after some of the information of the logic you provided with the trigger. Then you can specify the name of the table to which trigger it's going to be bind or it's going to be get that information. And you will also get specifying some of the type of the trigger that going to be used either for each row or each for each statement at the time you're going to be discussed in this block. So create trigger name which happened the before event or after event on the table name, the trigger type. You want to be specified some of the trigger types. Then execute your stored procedure name. Then it's going to be works out with whenever you require to end up with your trigger timing. So we have some of the different triggers we have. row level trigger or statement level triggers. Let's go and understand. We had two different types of this triggers, right? So row level trigger is going to be basically executing the each time a row is affected by the updated statement. Suppose I am going to be updated the statements, okay, that going to be affected for 10 rows or 100 rows. The row level of the trigger would be executed the 10 times at the time of situation you just updated. The 10 rows going to be affected. Each time the row is going to be updated statement, it may not be affected some of the cases. So the row level is triggered is not executed, not you can say not at all executing in the, some of the cases. Different from statement level trigger is once you once regardless how many times the rows are going to be updated the statement, so update statement did not affect any rows. That is a basic difference. The trigger is going to be executed slightly. So yeah, usage, I would say we have so many usages for the trigger usages. You would say you can use multiple emails, you can say salaries, kind of the things. Eventually, at the end of the day, you require to get salary, and some of the cases, automated emails going to be forward for client users at the month of the you can say